Here we are on the Longridge to Clitheroe Road, outside a very famous public house known simply as the Punch Bowl. The Punch Bowl has a most amazing character associated with it, called Mr. Ned King, who came all the way from Colchester, Essex, to start his new trade in highway robbery. Let's make our way inside this gorgeous old Ribble Valley Inn. This story is one of the finest stories ever to come out of the Ribble Valley. And we'll turn the clock back to the year 1739, when two people arrived here from Essex. One of them was a gentleman called Dick Turpin, and his best friend, Ned King. Both men were highwaymen. There was a huge reward on their heads, and they escaped to Essex and came up here to find some new trade. They spent 2 nights here at the Punch Bowl. That's when Turpin thought, I'll try the city of York, and he left Ned King here. Now Ned got on very, very well with the landlord, a chap called Jonathan Briscoe, and it wasn't long before these two formed a partnership. It was called highway robbery. When the coaches arrived here, that's when Briscoe would have a look and see how much money the gentlemen had and how much jewellery the ladies had. He would then tell King they were leaving at exactly 3 o'clock or 4, whatever, and King would gallop at great speed down to the Mitten Crossroads, hide behind the hedgerow and shout those famous words, "Stand and deliver." Between them, they held up no fewer than 14 coaches from 1739 to 1741. But of course, all good things come to an end when a platoon of redcoats arrived in the nearby village of Worley, and the lieutenant in charge of the redcoats got 12 of his best men inside the coach. They then set off for the Mitten Crossroads. At the Mitten Crossroads, King was waiting with 2 cocked muskets. All of a sudden, the coach arrived. He shouted, "Stand and deliver." As the words "deliver" left his mouth, he heard the word "fire." 12 muskets protruded from the side of the coach. They volley fired, and he got 2 musket balls in his chest. In great pain and bleeding very badly, he climbed back in his horse and galloped at great speed back to the Punch Bowl. In terrible agony, he got back to the Punch Bowl and went up to this very, very loft above our heads. There with Briscoe, they held off the redcoats for 3 long hours, killing 3 of them. They fired the last round, and King shouted to Briscoe, "Make a run for it, make a run for it." Briscoe escaped down the back of the building. He ran across the fields behind the Punch Bowl, but an army volley caught him, and he was killed instantly. Ned King lay above our heads in the hayrick, bleeding very, very badly. He had no ammunition left. All of a sudden, the lieutenant grabbed him by the shirt collar. "You've killed 3 of my finest soldiers. It was my job to take you back to Preston for trial for highway robbery, but I'm going to mete out my own justice." He was dragged down the lane. There they threw a rope over the nearest tree, and the poor chap was hung on the spot. When his legs stopped kicking, they released the pressure on the rope, and he was buried by the side of the road. That's when the famous ghost sightings of Ned King have taken place, not only in the Punch Bowl, but also on the road leading from the Punch Bowl to the Mitten Crossroads. Well, we're now joined by Margaret. Margaret is the landlady here. Margaret, I've got to ask you, are you very, very happy working here?
Yes, very happy.
Yeah. And how long have you been here?
We've been here about 6 months.
6 months. You've done an awful lot of work here because it used to be a restaurant, didn't it, before you arrived?
Yes.
And you turned it back to a traditional pub.
Yeah.
Which is great. And I know you sell some excellent beers. Now then, I've got to ask you, have you had any ghostly experiences in one of the Ribble Valley's most famously ghostly haunted pubs?
I have actually, yes, quite a few. And lately, behind the bar, friends were sitting the other night there, and it was either Johnny Briscoe or Ned himself took a glass from the top shelf and placed it on the floor, gently, but enough for us to hear. We've also had doors banging when we've been trying to sit and have a conversation, and it doesn't matter what time of day it happens, Ned is there and Johnny Briscoe showing that we can, you know, hear him and know that he is behind the bar.
Absolutely amazing. That really is amazing. The Punch Bowl, famous for its lunches, famous for its quality beers. Have you any plans for weddings and other events?
Yes, we have. We have a paranormal night tomorrow night, and we have another paranormal night on the 4th of December. Hopefully we have 2 weddings in the near future in May, so it'll be really good, yes.
Yeah. And Margaret, these paranormal organisations, they can just contact you by phone and book.
Yes, they can, or they can contact me on the internet.
Yeah. I find the stories of Ned absolutely fascinating. This picture is absolutely gorgeous. It's quite a romantic hero, but what a sad, tragic death.
It was, yes.
I mean, the poor guy to lose his life like that, really. But I almost feel as if he was actually still here, really.
Oh, definitely.
Yes.
He is still here, yes.